someone in your life thinks you are strange, maybe they have said it directly. Maybe they just look at you a certain way when you decline the invitation, leave the room, or stay quiet when everyone else is talking. And somewhere along the way, you started wondering if they might be right. What if the thing that makes you different is actually a defect? What if the separation you feel from the people around you is a sign that something went wrong, not a sign that something went right? Stay with me. Because by the time we get to the fifth behavior, the way you see yourself in this season is going to shift, and not in the direction you expect. The first behavior is choosing silence over approval. There are Christians who have stopped explaining themselves. They do not defend their choices at dinner tables. They do not justify why they left early, why they did not drink, why they said no to something everyone else said yes to. From the outside, this reads as arrogance or coldness. The people around them interpret the quiet as judgment. It is not. It is something that took years to build, and most people never build at all. It is the decision to stop outsourcing your identity to the opinions of people who are not responsible for your soul. Here is what nobody tells you about that decision. It gets lonelier before it gets freer. You will lose people who only stayed because you kept performing for them. You will feel the silence of rooms where you used to fill the air with explanations and apologies, and it will feel, for a while, exactly like loss, because it is loss. But Proverbs 29:25 says, "The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe." That snare is invisible until you stop walking into it. The Christians who have stopped explaining themselves are not cold. They are free in a way that makes people who are still trapped deeply uncomfortable. That discomfort almost always gets labeled as the other person's problem. The second behavior is protecting their inner world with a ferocity that looks antisocial. Who gets access to your home? Who gets access to your time? Who gets access to your thoughts, your struggles, your private life? Most people hand all of that out freely and wonder why they feel depleted. But there are Christians who have become intensely intentional about the atmosphere they allow around them. They are selective about friendships in a way that looks like rejection. They are quiet about their lives in a way that looks like secretiveness. They leave gatherings early, decline invitations without elaborate explanation, and maintain a stillness that unnerves people who have never experienced it. And here is the part most people skip over because it is inconvenient. The same Bible that commands love and generosity also says this. Proverbs 4:23, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Above all else, not above most things, not when convenient. Above all else, what flows out of your life, your decisions, your relationships, your faith, originates from whatever you allow into that inner space. Every voice you let in leaves something behind. Every environment you move through adds weight or removes it. The Christians who guard that space fiercely have not built walls against people. They are protecting the source. And the people who feel shut out are almost always the ones who would have consumed what was inside without ever noticing the cost. The third behavior is the one that generates the most judgment, and it is the one almost nobody has the courage to talk about honestly. Distancing from family, not from strangers, from the people who were there first, who know every version of you, who have the longest history and sometimes the most destructive access. There are Christians who have had to create distance from their own family, not out of bitterness, not out of pride, but out of a clear-eyed understanding that the environment was working directly against what God was doing in them. The mockery dressed as jokes, the pressure to return to who you used to be, the conversations that leave you feeling like everything you have become is wrong. Most Christians in this situation stay silent about it because the cultural and religious expectation is that family is sacred and untouchable, but Jesus was not silent about it. In Matthew 10:36, he said a person's enemies will be the members of their own household. He was not speaking metaphorically. He was warning his followers that the people closest to them would sometimes be the ones most opposed to what he was doing in their lives. That verse does not make the distance painless. It makes it honest. and honest is where healing starts. But here is the part that will challenge you more than any of the others. The distance is only the beginning. What God does with the space you create is the part most people never stay long enough to see. The separation that feels like abandonment is often the exact environment in which God does his most uninterrupted work. The noise of a family that constantly pulls you backward cannot reach you in the wilderness, and that is precisely where he tends to speak. The fourth behavior is refusing to be in a hurry. This one gets misread as laziness, lack of ambition, or spiritual passivity. But watch a Christian who has genuinely learned to be still, and you are watching something almost extinct in this generation. They do not fill every silence with noise. They do not perform productivity. They are not constantly moving toward the next thing, the next goal, the next level. And in a culture that treats busyness as virtue and stillness as failure, they look broken. They are not broken. They have found something the rushing, grinding, constantly optimizing world is too loud to hear. Now here is the thing about this behavior that most people miss entirely. The stillness is not passive. It is one of the most aggressive spiritual postures a person can take because it is a direct refusal to let the current moment dictate who you are. Every system around you is designed to keep you reactive, distracted, chasing. The person who refuses that is not opting out. They are opting into something harder and rarer. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." Not be still and eventually get to God. Be still and know. The knowing is inside the stillness. It is not accessible any other way. You cannot hustle your way into it. You cannot schedule it between two appointments and expect it to be there. The Christians who have stopped performing their faith for external validation and started living it in the quiet are carrying something you cannot manufacture. The fifth behavior is the one that will either confirm everything you just heard or expose the exact place where you stopped. These Christians do not chase belonging, not in rooms that require them to shrink, not in friendships that only work when they perform, not in churches, communities, or relationships where the price of acceptance is silence about what they actually believe. They have stopped needing the approval of every room they enter, and what that produces looks, from the outside, like isolation, like they are alone and somehow fine with it, like they do not need what everyone else seems desperate for. But look at what drives that. Romans 8:15 says, "You have not received a spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father." That is not theology for a Sunday morning. That is the operating system of a person who knows exactly who they belong to and has stopped auditioning for everyone else. And before you decide that this sounds like arrogance, ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you made a decision, a real one, without first measuring it against what someone else would think? The moment that settles in you really settles. The need for the approval of every room you enter loses its grip. And the people still running from room to room trying to belong somewhere, anywhere, look at you and call you strange. Because you stopped running.